And welcome back to Who Would Win. And today's Who Would Win comes to us from Mystolix. I might be getting that name wrong, but Mystolix. What's the question? Who would win a fight? The I-Rex or Indominous Rex versus the Alien Queen? If you think on that for more than a minute, or more than 20 seconds, you pretty much know the answer to that. But anyway, the I-Rex is... Now, the I-Rex was not fully grown in Jurassic World, but they said it would be larger than the T-Rex. Around 50 feet is what they said the length to be. It had tough armored skin, could camouflage itself, could change its body temperature, had very large arms with thumbs, I believe, or claws that acted like thumbs. Was very intelligent despite its size and stature because it had raptor DNA in it. Could take down most dinosaurs, even dinosaurs larger than it, like Apatosauruses, theropods, things along those lines. It took a combination of the T-Rex, blew a velociraptor, and the mosasaur to take the thing down. So, it's an immensely powerful creature. The Xenomorph Queen, the Alien Queen, is not as big as... In fact, how big is a Xenomorph Queen? Now that I'm actually thinking on that, they're big. They're bigger than They're like 2 to 3 times bigger than your average Xenomorph. But let's see. But they're not quite near the size of the I-Rex. Okay, average height is around 20 feet. So a average Xenomorph Queen isn't even half the size of a full-grown Indominus Rex. However, they have extremely hard exoskeletons that act like armor. Like, relative small arms fire would do very minimal damage. They are smarter than they appear, though they're still primarily like creatures of instinct and habit. They obviously have their inner jaw as well, which you can use as a surprise attack. They're very powerful, quite quick despite their size. They have a bladed tail which can pierce through individuals. And obviously you also have to deal with the fact that they have acidic blood as well. So, one second, there we go. The acidic blood, by the way, being like, I think, how did they describe it? Like a high-level molecular acid. It can burn through 3 layers of a ship's hull. So it's extremely powerful. Most things that come in contact with it, unless they're resistant or acid-proof to it, will dissolve pretty quickly. So let's assume an alien invasion is happening during Jurassic Park World, and the Xenomorphs try to, there's a Xenomorph invasion going on. And the Queen ends up going up against the Indominus. The Indominus is swatting away Xenomorphs left and right, tossing them around. Then it faces off with the Queen. Now, from a physical standpoint, the Queen's got a problem. The Queen's wouldn't even say is faster than the Indominus, simply on the grounds that the Queen is a bit more awkward due to her large head crest. If it wasn't for that head crest, I would definitely put the speed advantage on the Queen. But the problem is that head crest does actually hinder the Queen's movements to some level. So the Indominus probably comes in, tries to snap at the Queen, but the Queen's able to get away. Queen tries to pierce at it with its tail. It can't get the tail in very deep because of how heavily armored the Indominus's hide is. Like, the T-Rex really couldn't do much biting on it. It could hurt a little bit, but it couldn't do much. By the end of the fight, before the Mosasaur came, you did see that the Indominus did have debris sticking out of its back, like something had pierced it. But clearly it took a lot of force to do it because they were crashing through buildings. And I do believe that the Xenomorph Queen's tail could pierce the Indominus. I just don't think it would pierce it to any lethal extent. Like, you're not going to see the Queen just stab her tail right through the Indominus and hit its heart. No, what I think is you get the Queen's tail, you get the blade of the tail is like that big. You get maybe like a couple inches in, maybe half a foot, which would hurt, and the Indominus would feel that. Unfortunately, after a few shots from the tail, the Indominus, actually having an arm that can would grab the Queen's tail and swing and like just throw her around. And that book comes in and chomps down on the Queen. Unfortunately, that's where the fight kind of is gonna go end, basically, because I imagine the Queen can survive a bite from the Indominus. Particularly, let's say it bites the head crest and snaps that off. That would hurt, and the Indominus could, in theory, kill the Queen, absolutely. If it wasn't for the fact that, as far as we can tell, the Indominus could not resist the Queen's acid. As far as we can tell, the Indominus was not acid resistant. It was made to be like a weapon, but not in the sense that it was acid resistant. There was no proof that it was acid resistant. And even if it is, this is like high-grade molecular hydrochloric acid kind of weaponry here. This is weaponry or acid that you do not mess with. And the minute it takes that bite and tries to chomp on the Queen's crest that has all that blood in there, it's gonna start dissolving the Indominus's face off, basically. I'm checking something really quick, by the way. Yeah, okay. I want to get it because there's also the iRaptor, the Indoraptor, but no, the Indominus Rex is what you actually asked. So I'm still doing this video. Then starts to dissolve the mouth. Now, I don't think it would immediately kill the Indominus Rex, but he'd be in so much pain that the Queen would be able to come in and start, climb on top and start scratching, and using the blood that's still coming off her head, start hitting the Indominus and start basically, hitting the face and everything. It just eventually just kills the Indominus Rex by pretty much dissolving into its brain cavity and liquefying its brain. That is where the Indominus unfortunately comes up short, is the fact that it has nothing to counteract the acid of the Queen. If it could at least be somewhat resistant to the acid, I would lean towards the Indominus Rex. I'd have to go to the Indominus Rex. But that acid and the fact that the Queen's tail's long enough that the Indominus Rex could, grab that, bite that, and then get a mouthful of acid again. Problem is, it's got that massive jaw that could just easily get a mouthful of acid. So, ultimately, yeah, I gotta go with the Queen on this. Now, that said, there's a realistic scenario where the Indominus just chomps down on the Queen alien's body, and it goes into a draw. Because the Indominus would live, but he'd be crippled. But he'd live. The Queen would die. So there is that scenario, but because of the Queen's unique structure as opposed to other Xenomorphs, I would think it's more likely the Indominus bites her in a non-lethal way. I mean, it still messes her up, but non-lethal way, which results in the Queen using her abilities to ultimately take it down. So I'm going to go, because of the tie aspect of it, or because of the non-lethal, not lethal, the crippling bite, the Indominus could still kill the Queen. I'm going to go 80% in favor of the Queen Alien. But ultimately, it's up for you. I leave it to you ultimately. So who do you think will win? The Queen more so than the iRex, or the iRex more so than the Queen Alien? Put in the comments below, let me know. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. I'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas of who would win, Star Wars, Superior Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. I got a what if to do for today, and then that's basically it. I got no other plans today. So, thanks for watching. See you next time, folks.